call outcomes or dispositions. Make sure that everybody has a clear understanding of what the standard ones are, when to use them, why to use them, and what happens after you use them. So the first disposition on our list is busy, send information. This means that the prospect actually answered the phone, engaged with you, and asked to have some information sent to them. An example of this would be, you call, they say, hey, I'm tied up in a meeting right now. I'd love to learn more. Could you go ahead and email me some information? That'd be busy, send more information. That's a positive call outcome. You would then want to check and do a follow-up, move them into the lead status of follow-up. If you're the revenue operations person in this case, it would count as a conversation. And then what's going to happen with that contact is going to move to the follow-up list. The next one is interested, call back later. Someone says, hey, I'm interested. I'm tied up right now. Could you call me in 3 hours? Or could you call me next Wednesday? They answered the phone. It's the person you were supposed to talk to. They're engaging with you. It's a positive call outcome. Follow-up is required. They are interested as a contact status. It's going to count as a conversation, and they as well will move to the follow-up list. The third one, interested, send information, is the prospect answered the phone, had a conversation with you. They're interested. They'd actually like you to send them some more information. That's a positive call outcome. It is a required follow-up. Interested contact status, it will count as a conversation, and it's going to move to the follow-up list. The fourth one, which is a meeting reschedule, exactly what it sounds like. I've had a meeting scheduled with this contact previously. I needed to get it back on the books. I called, I rescheduled them. Of course, positive outcome. No follow-up required because you're going to have a meeting. They're going to go into a meeting set lead status. It will count as a conversation, and it will count as a conversion. That's going to remove them from the calling list. Meeting scheduled, same thing. The only difference, of course, is that it's the initial instance of you scheduling that meeting. Positive outcome will count as a meeting set. The lead status or the contact status is going to become meeting set. It's going to count as a conversation, count as a conversion, and will also remove them from the list. Referral is an instance where the prospect answered the phone and the rep determined the person they're speaking with is not the best for the topic, and they refer you to somebody else. They give you that contact information for a colleague. The colleague, of course, is somebody that you're going to call and follow up with. It's going to remove that specific contact from the list, and then the colleague should end up on your calling list. Partial referral, the only difference is you weren't able to get all of the contact information of the person you're being referred to. Everything else is going to stay the same. Blocked by gatekeeper, someone from the front desk, for instance, wouldn't pass you through to the person that you were asking for. So this is going to be a blocked by gatekeeper. You're going to keep them as a prospect because you need to call them back again, but they don't need to be a follow-up. They're just going to stay in the list as a prospect. It's not going to count as a conversation, and it's going to stay inside of your active list. Busy, call back later. That's the prospect themselves answered the phone and stated they're busy, but go ahead and call me back later. It's a required follow-up. It's going to go into the follow-up status, and it's going to count as a conversation. It's going to move to the follow-ups. No pitch means that the prospect answered the phone, acknowledged that they were the right person, for instance, but then as soon as you got into maybe the pitch or even the greeting, they hung up the phone, and so you didn't get to pitch at all your product or service. Going to count as a conversation because you actually had a shot. So we're going to come back and talk about why we would want to make sure that we're counting that as a conversation, but that's going to stay in the active list as well. Quick hang up could mean for whatever reason you didn't even hear the person, they never heard you. It's a quick hang up. It's pretty much like the call didn't happen. We're going to keep them as a prospect in the lead status, not count as a conversation. They will stay in the active list. Not interested follow-up. The prospect answered the phone, says they're not interested, especially if they've acknowledged they are the right person for what you're calling about. We're going to keep them as a not interested follow-up. Just because they're not interested right now doesn't mean that things won't change in the future and that we should follow up with them. So we're going to go not interested follow-up. So it's going to be required follow-up. It's going to go into a follow-up status. It's going to count as a conversation, and it's going to move the contact to the follow-up list. Transfer did not reach contact means that a gatekeeper did transfer you to the person that you were trying to reach, but you weren't able to reach the contact once you got transferred. For instance, maybe you hit their voicemail but did not leave a voicemail. Transferred, left voicemail, exactly what it sounds like. Gatekeeper transferred you over. You weren't able to get a hold of them. You left a voicemail. Neither of those count as a conversation. Both of them will keep contact in the prospect list. So the contact's going to stay in your current active list. Disqualified, reason and notes. Contact and their company are not part of your ICP for any product or service. Once you disqualify a contact, what you're really doing is you're saying this entire organization that I'm calling is disqualified from our products or service. Maybe they're outside of the territory you're allowed to sell in. Maybe they're a one-person shop and you need at least 20 people to sell your product. So they're truly disqualified. Don't use this on a contact just because maybe the contact's not the decision maker or something of that sort, because you will disqualify the entire account. So that is a conversation because you did reach the person you were aiming to reach, found out that they're disqualified. You're going to remove them from the list, and the organization is going to remove from all lists. Do not call. The prospect answered the phone. Instead, they're on the national do not call list. This outcome signifies that we're going to remove them from the calling list. It is a conversation. They're going to go into the contact status of do not call, and it's going to remove them from the list. No longer with the company. The prospect answered the phone, and the rep determines the person they wanted to get in touch with is no longer with the organization. You're going to turn them into a no longer with company contact status, count them as a conversation, and remove them from the list. Not the decision maker. Very similar. The prospect answered the phone and is not the decision maker. It's going to count as a conversation. They're going to remove into the contact status of not decision maker, and you're going to remove them from the list. Wrong number. It just means exactly what it says. It's the wrong number. It's not going to count as a conversation because you didn't get a hold of the person at all that you were trying to. And you're going to remove them from the list. And then retired, removed from all lists. You did get the person you were aiming for, but determined they're retired. You're going to hit retired as the call outcome. The contact status will also go to retired. It will count as a conversation because, again, we reached the person we were aiming for, and we're going to remove them from all lists. So that gives you guys a quick rundown of all of the different call dispositions and outcomes in the standard form. The only ones that should really change too often would be these send information ones, because you guys could have different automated marketing or nurture campaigns or sequences based off of that call outcome. And you could end up with people not being a decision maker, for instance, for certain products or services, but maybe they are for another. So there could be multiple of those. And then disqualified, potentially you could have an instance where you're going to leverage multiple disqualified outcomes. Everything else should stay pretty standard. The reason I say that is from a tracking standpoint, from a KPI standpoint, we want to ensure that we're using standard call dispositions and call outcomes to figure out where are the opportunities for optimization and improvement